In my last video, I gave a brief overview as to why the new Halo TV series isn't a good representation of the original game and book series. This video will be my main thesis as to what Halo was and how the TV series has left that behind. Before we begin, I want to explain where I am coming from, as Halo is personal to me. Like most players my age, I grew up playing the games and was excited when 343 took the reins after Bungie had moved on. Beyond that, for a handful of years prior to college, I practiced reading aloud by reading the Halo books to my brother and father as I prepared for conservatory. We bonded over the Spartans' origin stories in the fall of Reach. We even teared up reading Kurt's sacrifice in Ghosts of Onyx. The last book we started reading together was the finale of the Kilo 5 trilogy, Mortal Dictata. At this point in time, I had moved to New York for school, which, fun fact, my entrance essay was written about Kurt and got me a pretty good scholarship. I was really proud of that. With me away from the family, we planned to finish that last book together after I had graduated. But as my story goes, a few months prior to my graduation, my father would pass away. And to be honest, I haven't been able to pick that book up to finish it ever since. So when I talk about Halo, it's coming from a place of love. I don't want Halo to fail by any means. Halo is one of my last definitive memories with my father, and that is perfect to me. In our discussions over the books, we talked about the ideas behind the series, and I'm glad I now get to look back and pull from that. This leads me to my thesis of what made Halo Halo. The story of Halo and the Master Chief can be hastily described as a story of survival, discovery, and courage to face the impossible. It's these qualities that first grip the player and reader alike: survival, discovery, courage. So, how do these factor into the story? In the first game, and then supported by the following books, we are thrown into a holy war waged against humankind. A once strong and interplanetary government has been beaten back through decades of war, losing planet after planet to the Covenant. However, to our deadly foe, it wasn't enough to merely take the planet, but they would then cleanse the planet by scorching the surface to molten slag with plasma beams from their starships, leaving no evidence of our existence for history to remember us by. This is where the Spartans come in. A government program, founded in the moral gray area of humanity, secretly raised super soldiers from childhood. Intended to be used for the government's purposes, their mere existence was a stroke of luck as the war began. They would prove to be the best weapon against the alien onslaught, but their numbers were limited to a few dozen, ultimately up against billions of Covenant forces. As time continued on, the Spartans would slow but never stop the progression of their demise. It was once Reach, the UNSC headquarters, had fallen that humanity was officially on its last leg. It was here that a Spartan we all know and love was paired with his trusty AI and given the task to find a way to save humanity. The only hope they dared to have was merely to survive. This was a story of survival. The story grows as John and Cortana take the fight to the first Halo ring. We are in a mysterious world clearly not made by human or Covenant hands. It's something older and shrouded in mystery. As events unfold, we discover the ring is more than it seems, a weapon of great magnitude, beyond our understanding. Then we are gripped with fear as we discover the reason for its creation, the Flood, a parasitic life form that devours all in its way. Now facing both the aliens and parasites, the Master Chief almost sets off the ring as the AI of the installation leads him to believe it would save them from the Flood, leaving out the fun fact that it would actually kill the Flood's food, not the Flood itself, meaning all sentient life would perish in an attempt to starve the Flood. Thankfully, with Cortana's intervention, this is stopped, but only a few make it out alive after they destroy the ring, hoping the threat was behind them. However, our journey of discovery of the ancient alien species called Forerunners had truly just begun. Uncovering the mystery of Halo and these Forerunner artifacts kept the forces of good pushing forward, as it became a race against the Covenant who wanted to uncover the same secrets. As the devil of our plot intervenes, the Gravemind that is, we are forcibly paired with an unlikely ally, the Arbiter, who is in the process of uncovering the lies told by the hierarchs of the Covenant and their plan to ignite the rings in order to ascend like their gods, the Forerunners. Now this is a story of discovery. With the introduction and incorporation of more characters like Sergeant Johnson and Miranda Keyes, for example, we get to see how a human could make an impact in this fight, outside the parameters of the superhuman Spartans. They have less ability than our main character, but they are willing to sacrifice their very lives to help the cause. Furthermore, we delve into the fragility and human nature of Cortana, as she must first stay behind to hold back the Covenant from firing the rings, then enduring the Gravemind's assault as she is left alone with it, holding to the promise of John's return. This is a story of courage and sacrifice. Survival, discovery, courage. and it's all tied together by the Master Chief. A natural leading character who fights for the survival of humanity, uncovers the mysteries at his own peril, and exhibits the courage to do what is asked of him despite the odds. In the end, we see the best that humanity has to offer, and it's because of this that they overcome the impossible. When it comes to repackaging and telling an established narrative that spans over decades of content and multiple platforms, it's imperative to honor both the world and characters respectively. The world being the makeup of the Halo universe that one could see and immediately know the what, where, and when someone was talking about. Then the characters hold established roles as archetypes and play distinct roles to fulfill the plot narrative, which, in the end, distills what the story is all about. One could possibly change one of these two pillars and succeed. Take Halo 3 ODST for example. The characters are all new and foreign to us at the beginning of the story, but the world they inhabit is grounded in the reality of Halo. It's through these characters that we get a new perspective on events that we played through as the Master Chief in the previous game. This worked because the characters fit into the Halo world and added to the existing narrative that we already loved. Now, if you dare to change both of these pillars for a new take on the series, I think it will ultimately be doomed to fail. And this is how I view the new Halo TV series. As I just described to you, I believe Halo was founded on survival, discovery, and courage. I think the series does not, and here's why. At no point in the first 3 episodes out so far have I been given the idea that the Covenant is progressively destroying human worlds. Actually, in episode 3, we see John walk the streets on Reach, and no one even seems slightly concerned about the ongoing war with the aliens. The urgency to save humanity does not exist. There is currently no existential threat. Even as a seemingly abandoned Covenant ship randomly exits slipspace in front of a UNSC ship, the crew and captain do not appear all that worried. They appear more so curious, and in the end naive as they walk straight into a trap. This is not a story pressing the need of survival. In the second episode, Master Chief is lucky enough to have access to a man who happens to know one of the biggest secrets in the universe, that the Halo ring is a weapon. This is wrong and incredibly lazy writing, just wishing that you will accept this information as discovery. It was spoon-fed through and through. In the game, it was only after fighting our way through Covenant forces to the control room on Halo that we began to access and discover what it truly was. We earned the payoff, whereas in the series, we haven't even seen the Halo rings in a substantial way. This isn't about discovery, it's about progressing the plot for them. The writers seem to be more focused on political and social discovery within the human sphere, which in the end paints a dark picture of humanity in stark contrast to the games. Now when it comes to courage, there has been no need for courage as of the first 3 episodes. There hasn't been a situation where I could believably think that any of the main characters would die. Now, this can change, but it feels more like the showrunners are going with a safe, cookie-cutter version of Halo. I hope I'm wrong in this, so fingers crossed. I will stop here for now, but in conclusion, the accumulation of negating these base elements of Halo removes the values that drew us in. As a kid, I wanted to be strong and courageous like the characters in the game. They displayed ideals and an ability to rise above one's circumstances and obstacles. It was good and worthwhile. In the TV series, we focus on human evils like brainwashing, executions, and a UNSC with traits of authoritarianism. The world and characters are simply not the same. Let me know what you think. In the next video, I could break down the emotion-controlling implants for Spartans that never existed in the original series, or I could go into Cortana's purpose in being paired with John being completely different. Then again, I could also make a whole video about John's character being nothing like the stoic leader we first came to know. So, where should I take this next?